I'm a firm believer that you can open with a certain vision for the food in your restaurant, but your customers are definitely going to determine what direction you pull that. If you don't bend to that somewhat, your restaurant won't make it.
You're tuning into Provisions, a hospitality podcast by God-Given Talent.
Some restaurants are occasion places. We don't really want to do that. We're more interested in somewhere where you can feel relaxed and go a lot.
This show's all about providing real hospitality insights from real hospitality people. So if you like what we're doing for Australia's hospo scene, consider subscribing.
So yeah, Almay Jordaan, South African, but I live here now. I am originally a chef, and been cooking for about 25 years, although now I'm mostly outside of the kitchen. The venues, I have a Neighbourhood wine where we are today, and Old Palm Liquor in Brunswick East, and Bahama Gold next to it, and obviously working on a tiny one. And I am have the dubious, and no one is quite sure what the title means, of culinary director, which is the strangest job title.
Yeah. To take a step back into how we got to where we are today, walk us through the timeline of when you first opened Neighbourhood.
Look, I met my husband in London. We were both working in a wine bar, and we both wanted to work for ourselves, and we obviously wanted to open venues. I think we probably didn't talk enough about whether we had the same venue in mind. I had like the chef's dream of like a little 30-seater kind of, I changed the menu every day, which is very close to what I was doing in London. You just kind of order stuff, make up the menu, you know, cook off the cuff, and it's really just based on how skilled the cooks are at putting a daily menu together, and the next day you start over. But that's a small restaurant. You've got to work in it every day. It very much depends on your own talents and input and stamina. Simon had a slightly bigger vision, which I've taken some time to get used to. When we got here, we moved here in 2010 to Melbourne. I had never been to Australia before. And we carried on working. I worked at the City Wine Shop in the city, and we started looking for venues almost immediately, but it took us 3 or 4 years to actually find the spot. Heaps of places that fell through. It was also just the two of us.
Yeah.
There's no investor, there's no nothing, just Simon on his like bicycle driving to like inspections of commercial buildings. And they're like, okay, rightio, you want to open a restaurant. I think it was just kind of fate and luck and perseverance that we found this place when we did, because it had stood closed for a long time. Then someone was here for a while, then it closed again. It was a really well-known pizza shop downstairs at the time, a really well-known family. And they kind of used it as their nursery / sleeping place in the daytime, because the whole family worked in the pizzeria. So it was kind of hard for them to let it go as well. But it obviously had a bit of a shady history with being this kind of illegal gambling place.
Right.
It had some, links to organised crime and stuff, and it had just stood empty. So when we walked in, we were like, this is great. It has fantastic bones. It has, irreplaceable art. Everything's hand-painted on the walls. Everything
was before you?
We didn't put any of this in, no. We put in the wine racks and the furniture and the bar.
Even...
Oh, and the pheasant, yeah. The pheasant was us as well.
Okay.
A late-night eBay purchase. And someone sunk a lot of money into this place at some point. And you can't create this. You can't create the kind of vibe that's up here. It's completely lived in. It's been here for a really long time. The actual building is 150 years old.
Wow.
And then when it opened, this was pre-broadsheet, pre-Instagram, pre-anything. So you open and then you wait for people to just... No one knew who we were. I probably can't ever explain to someone the feeling of just randomly having someone wander up here one afternoon when we opened and going, is this a restaurant? Like, are you guys open? It was just like so stoked. It was awesome. And then just many, many months of working it ourselves. Me with only 2 other chefs, Simon with I think only 2 other front of house, and now the team is huge, over 20. So, yeah, just kind of a long, slow start, even though it doesn't look like it.
Does it then make you feel proud that it has been open now for 15 years, considering prior to you, nothing really lasted?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And when we opened Old Palm, there's a very big advantage at having a restaurant at street level.
Yeah.
Like, you're immediately visible. People see people inside and they're like, what's that place? Whereas this place, we're still finding people who've lived in Fitzroy North or Carlton all their lives. And they're like, oh, I don't know that restaurant. So it's lessons were learned, like that you need to be visible as a restaurant. You need to choose a correct site. But somehow we made it happen. Part of the thing is that Melbourne quite likes a bit of a challenge. They want to go find a restaurant or something. So we tapped into that a bit.
That's probably a bit of the charm as well.
Yeah.
I didn't even expect that when I went to the front door.
Yeah, you don't.
Stairs.
You couldn't imagine.
Am I even in the right building?
Yeah.
If I didn't know.
And people are surprisingly hesitant to walk up a strange, kind of set of stairs and go see what's at the top. Yeah. They're like, they're not really going to take that chance. But it worked in our favour, and we really leaned into it. We leaned into the European charm and did Sunday roasts early on.
Talking about the customer base you have, what is the most consistent feedback that you guys get regularly? Like, what is it that people are saying about Neighbourhood wines?
I think the best thing I've heard from both of my venues is that someone wants to move in there. That's the ultimate compliment. You got the ambiance correct. I think just that is that you create a space where people feel relaxed. I think especially in the city is like we all create our living spaces that they're comfortable for us and they're our own spaces, but it's nice to go somewhere and be comfortable, get, meet with friends, and it's just kind of chill. There are obviously occasion restaurants and we all love those, but I think that creating a space where it's an extension of just like how you would hang out with your friends at home is ultimately our goal. And I think just kind of over-delivering, and this is really the biggest thing we've strived for, and it's really hard to work at all the time, is over-delivering when we promised one thing, and then when people come and have it, they're pleasantly surprised. They're like, wow, that was, I didn't expect this place when I walked up here. That food was way better than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. Or you've introduced me to a new wine I would never have tried. Like, that's kind of, I think that's like how, as adults, those are the things that kind of make us happy, a little, kind of moments where you're like, oh, that was unexpected, but kind of nice. So probably the hardest thing to work at, but ultimately when people are like, oh my word, that was an amazing experience, like that's when we know we've kind of, nailed it for that specific person that night, hopefully for all the others as well.
So if someone were to come here, what would they expect on the menu? Like, what's the type of food and cuisine that you would serve?
The food at Neighbourhood Wine, the sort of director for the chefs is modern Australian bistro. Personally, when I was cooking, the food was a lot more rustic than it was now. I'm French trained, so really leaning on that kind of French bistro, kind of French country style cooking, which is kind of really my jam. Regional Italian stuff, to somewhat of a lesser extent, but Melbourne recognises a certain type of cuisine and you know, kind of is drawn to it. So it has kind of gravitated in that way. Obviously, I think also really needed to modernize the food slightly. There's some stuff I cooked in London which it just won't fly here. Okay. I think it's uniquely recognizable there, and here there's a completely different connotation to the food, or it's just not as much appreciated. Down to certain ingredients, actually. We learn throughout the years what works, what doesn't work, and yeah, just kind of carry on with what works, and you know, learn a lesson real fast.